Okay, chapter 3 is very much about reality and whether or not it is observable, objective to the degree that we can really study it scientifically. This is a huge epistemological topic, and intellectual social workers, meaning you, soon to be PhDs, but even MSWs and DSWs, love talking about it primarily because it legitimizes qualitative research, um, um, because we're basically saying that it's maybe possible not to objectively observe any phenomenon. We're only human and we see our data from our own subjective lenses. Um, and it's true that we allow everyone their own interpretation of reality. This is what it means to be a postmodern thinker, by the way. We respect each person's personal reality and their right to see things the way they see them. And yet, if we all agree on a way to observe phenomena, and we all try to observe it in the same way, then it is possible to quantify observations and to say, yes, there is a likelihood that X is happening when Y is happening, or X is there if Y is there. It's very likely that that will happen. And it doesn't even have to be all that complicated. If we want to determine percentages, we can calculate risks and possibilities. We just have to agree on how. All the social sciences, history, economics, sociology, etc., refer to their own particular paradigms to understand human behavior. A paradigm is a model or a scheme, a way of organizing observations. It is a unique way of looking at something. A symbolic interactionist paradigm implies that people behave the way they do because they socialize. A functionist would say that they behave in ways that they behave because these ways work for them. They use things that they use in social system and structures, social systems are utilitarian. The conflict paradigm of human behavior is about power and resources. To the victors go the spoils, and people would rather fight to win to have things. They behave in ways that will serve them, and they don't care necessarily about others. Social work research relies primarily upon three different paradigms. These are paradigms that are research oriented. They're ways that different researchers look at their job, investigation, inquiry. A positivist or positivism paradigm is knowledge based upon observation as opposed to, say, loyalty. We try with research to make the irrational rational. The assumption is that there is an objective reality that explains phenomena. Quantitative researchers use the scientific method to explain phenomena. The second paradigm is interpretism, and it is grounded in empathy and understanding what is inside a person's head. Not assume it's what is it is what is inside a person's head, not what is assumed. It is not assumed. It is assumed that we have very different ways of thinking, and that these aren't necessarily observable, that our intentions aren't necessarily observable, and yet they really matter. Qualitative researchers do this. They interview people in order to hear their reasons, their people's own interpretations of reasons for behaviors and attitudes. The third paradigm is the critical social science paradigm, and this is critical of society and oppression. Social workers tend to be that way, sensitive to injustice. The purpose for research for people who believe in this paradigm is going to be empowerment. So social workers tend to choose a paradigm to work in if they're going to be a social work researcher. None of them is better than the other. Based upon what we have said about postmodernism, why would you think that statement is true or false, that neither paradigm is better than the other? That might be a good exam question. Why is one paradigm better than the other or not, based upon the idea of that both based upon postmodernistic thinking. Now, a theory, moving right along, is a systematic set of interrelated statements that are used to explain some aspect of social life in our world, in our social science world. That's what theories are for. All paradigms can be used to research any theory, but different people will use the same paradigm, won't necessarily ascribe to the same theories. So a behaviorist might be likely to measure objective behavior and would want to probably adhere to positivism, count the number of times someone did something, perhaps, or the number of times something happened. But an interpretivist can also be a behaviorist, can also believe that if you change behavior, you will change emotions or attitudes, and yet won't necessarily measure them. We like theory because a theory predicts something. Be able to tell me a theory that predicts something on the exam. Like, for example, mothers don't hold their babies. If mothers don't hold their babies will be clingy, or the opposite, emotionally avoidant children. Having that theory enables us to come up with a hypothesis. If the theory is correct, then, okay, we'll continue in a different segment. We're going to stop this right now.